abused. Because when you're in it,
You
it
don't
was
acknowledge
normal.
it.
It
You
was
don't
normal.
acknowledge it.
I've been in domestic violence relationships since I was 18 years old.
Wow.
I'm almost 30. This is normal to me. But I went because I was, my insides was ripping out of me. I was like, God, if you don't do something. And she was Holy Ghost filled. Get you a Holy Ghost filled friend.
Wow.
And she said, you gotta go. So I went because I needed help. And I just submitted to that help. And in the shelter, God asked me, who are you? And I said, Brandy. And because I knew it was him. You know when it's God.
Yeah.
When people say, well, I don't hear God. You feel it, or you know that something needs to change. And I knew something had to change. And he said, go in the Bible and find 100 things that I said about you. I don't want to hear beautiful, because we all know that. I don't want to hear cute. I don't want to hear nothing external. I wanted you to tell me who I called you to be, righteous, holy. And I'm like, but I'm none. He said, I don't care what you think about it. I created this world. See, we become our own gods.
Exactly.
So I had to stand in the mirror and say those things over myself. When I got out the domestic violence shelter, less than 60 days, I had a car, I had a job, I had somewhere to live, and I had my child back.
Praise God. Praise God.
It was the grace of God.
One of the things I want to say to our viewers is there is power of life and death in the tongue. And it's so important. Proverbs 10:21 says that. And that's what God told you to do, and you were obedient to start speaking. You didn't feel it, but you spoke it.
I didn't feel it at all.
Exactly. Brandy, if you could say something, what would be an empowerment word for women that are watching, young mothers, young women, or even older women that are in a situation right now and they don't know how to break free? They're in bondage of being inferior, insecure, not sure how to break free from the cycle of abuse. So what would be the empowerment, encouragement for those that could be watching today to help them to focus forward is what you're doing?
Courage is one word.
Okay.
This walk takes courage. It's not going to feel good. But when you decide to focus forward, you've got to change your decision. Yes. See, I can focus forward all I want.
You took your pain. You took the things that you were dealt with, that hand that was given to you, that rape, molestation, abuse, all those insecurities and everything, and you made something of it. You created your own publishing company. You're an author of so many books now. You're traveling, you're speaking, you're doing phenomenal things, about to have a talk show. So, ladies that are watching, even men that may be going through something, be encouraged. There is purpose through your pain. Reach out, talk to somebody, contact someone. Reach out to me. I will give you the resources wherever you're located, whatever state, South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, wherever you are, I will get those resources for you. Thank you so much, Brandy.
Thank you.
We're going to have a few minutes of table talk shortly after our next guest, because I know we both got some questions that we want to ask.
Absolutely.
So, but thank you all. If you'll just bear with us a few more minutes, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with our next guest, Miss Tangi Roseborough. I'm excited to have her. She has got a phenomenal story as well of pain to purpose.
They say we don't deserve it all. It seems like they always pray for the fall. Even when our backs up on the wall, it seems they wanna be us facing no. We've been through too much to lose our love and let the haters come between us. We ain't gotta fight to prove our love. Plus how they know what's best for us. Forget what the haters say. Let them talk, it's noise ready anyway. Forget what the haters say. Let them talk, it's noise ready anyway. They'll say we don't live like the Joneses, that we're too young to know what this feeling is. But what they know. Let them talk their hearts away. As long as I got you, babe, I'm okay. Yeah.
Robin Shockley with Focus Forward Robin at the Regina Sunshine Global Network here in the studio at 4040 Chapel Hill Road. And we are back with a wonderful guest. But first I want to put a little plug about this magazine. This is Mr. Terry Watson. He is the founder of Who Am I magazine. What is so awesome is yours truly is featured in the center, 1415 page. This is a wonderful magazine. If you would like a copy, contact me. I've got extra copies. I have a few left. I would love to get you one. There is some phenomenal people, men and women in here in business that are really making a difference with their business, and they're growing. And so I would love to help promote them. So Mr. Terry Watson with Who Am I magazine, let me know. We have a very special guest today. Today's show is all about coming from pit to purpose, pain to purpose, and dealing with the hands you've been dealt. So, our next special guest is Miss Tangi Roseboro. Welcome, Tangi.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Well, I am so glad. I'm going to read your bio because
Okay.
I'm just like with Brandy. I don't want to miss a beat because you are rocking it, girl. You are doing some phenomenal things.
To God be the
To
glory.
God be the glory. You are all over the place. Prophetess Tangi Roseboro is the mother of 5 beautiful children from ages 24 to 29. She is the founder of We Girls Rock nonprofit organization, the Women of Strength Honorary Award Movement, the Pain to Purpose live TV in Atlanta, Georgia on Status Network, and the editor-in-chief of the Pain to Purpose magazine. She's also the founder and host of the Tangi Roseboro Empowerment Show and a self-published author of 5 amazing books. Same to you with writing books. That's awesome. Tangi is a motivational and inspirational speaker, and she travels the world inspiring others to live in their greatest purpose. She has been featured on the Nikki Rich Show and the Adrienne Monroe Show, both in Los Angeles, California. Tangi is a licensed minister and believes in teaching and preaching the Word of God everywhere she goes, and she's an inspiration to many. And she loves seeing others live out their dreams. I love it. Welcome, Tangi.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Oh, my God. You are doing some great things just like Brandy, isn't she? It's amazing. I love hearing the stories of women because things haven't always been like this for
Oh,
you.
no.
I was reading the magazine. I'm actually one of your featured article writers.
Yes, you are.
This is Tangi's magazine, Pain to Purpose. It gets published. And if you would like information, you can contact her about it. But, you know, I was reading your story in here about your little bio, about your life story. And you've been through a thing or two, right?
Yes.
Oh, my
yes,
gosh.
definitely.
And it didn't always start out easy because you've also suffered with domestic violence as well.
Yes.
And you've been a single mom as well.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, it started, you know, when you're young, you don't really know who you are. You're trying to find out who you are. And back then, life was hard, you know, being raised by my mom, because at that time she was drinking a lot. Thank God she does not drink anymore. Hasn't drank for over 20-something years. But, you know, she had her own identity crisis going on, and we were pretty much raised by my sister. And being told that you wasn't going to amount to anything, or, you know, nobody would want you, you ugly, you stink. You know, we would go to school, the teachers would have to comb our hair, take us a bath, and things like that. You begin to lose who you are, you know, and then you try to fit in. And as I continued to, you know, grow up into this teenager, I was trying to find out who I was and trying to fit into this circle of crowd that God had already said that I didn't belong to. But I was trying to fit in and ended up doing a lot of things that I should not have done. You know, getting pregnant at 13 by a guy that was in his 20s. I ended up having a miscarriage. And then, you know, just going on and just losing focus of life, period, you know. And then, you know, I ended up dropping out of high school in the 10th grade. Once I became pregnant with my daughter, I was 16. Her father was 29. And I wanted to raise my daughter. And while
How old were you again?
I was 16.
And the father was how old?
29.
Wow.
Yes. So I was seeking for love, but I was
That's what I was
seeking for
thinking.
love in all the wrong places, you know. I didn't know what true love really was because that was something that I never got. Even though my family has always been a close-knit family, I was missing that love because I never got that hug from my mom or my dad. I never received a kiss to this day from my mom or from my dad. So those things that I was seeking, and if I could get it from a guy, then hey, that felt good to me, you know. And so I ended up having my daughter, and I had 4 more children, which made it a total of 5. And we were on public assistance, living in the projects. I was by the mailbox just like everybody else on the first of the month, waiting for my welfare check and my food stamps to make ends meet. And then all of a sudden, life hit. And I found out that my middle son had to have open heart surgery because he had a hole in his heart. And then at the same time, my baby boy, he was on life support already in Spartanburg Regional because he was born premature and his brain didn't develop and he had a lot of respiratory issues. And so here I am, young mother in my early 20s with 2 children in the hospital, both on life support, both fighting for their lives in 2 different hospital miles apart, 3 other children at home. I was mad at God. Like I hear so many other people say.
Were you still with your husband at the time?
No. My husband and I, we do not have any children together. That comes later.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I actually have 3 different children, fathers, you know, but I was lost. I was mad at God. I started drinking. I started partying. And then one day I was out at the club and I was pretty drunk. And this guy walked up to me and he said, "Why are you here? You don't even fit in here. Like, you don't even know me." And he began to minister to me right then and there, drunk as I was. And I knew I had to get out of that situation.
Wow.
So when I went to Charleston, I went into the chapel and I fell on my knees and I cried out to God in the chapel of the hospital. And I knew I had to make a life-changing decision. So I said to myself, if I want change, I got to do change myself. You got to be able to make that change. Whether you have somebody pushing you or not, you have to be your own self-motivation. And that's what I started to do. It was hard, but yet we persevered and I made it through. And in the process, I ended up meeting my ex-husband, whom I thought was my godsend. Again, you know, I was seeking for that out of affection, attention, not the spiritual side, you know, that feel good.
Yes.
And that's pretty much what it was. And, you know, the beating started. We would be laying in the bed talking, and next thing I know, I have a black eye, and my eyes swole out to here. And how do I explain to my children that I went to bed normal, but now I wake up, and this side of my face is swole? They was calling me Beauty and the Beast because they didn't know what was going on. You know what I'm saying? They thought it was kind of funny that Mama looked like a monster, or whatever, and it didn't.
Did you try to protect them in any way, make excuses or
I
anything?
did. I really did, because I didn't want them to know that this guy I had invited into our home, into my life, was hitting on me, because to them, he was an outstanding guy. We had never gone to Myrtle Beach. He took us to Myrtle Beach. We had never gone to like a restaurant like Quincy's or anywhere like that. He took us there. So even those small things made a difference to me and to him. I mean, to them. So I didn't want them to think that this guy, this nice man who had come into our life, was doing this to me. And the beatings just intensified, you know, and I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. If I said something, I was hit. If I didn't say something, I was hit. If I was driving the car and I looked the wrong way, or if I looked and a guy was coming down the street in the car, I was hit driving. And I was asleep one night, and I woke up to my eardrum being bust. I couldn't hear anything because I wouldn't go to bed. I was on the couch, and my eardrum bust, and I jumped up because I couldn't hear anything, and I went to the hospital, and I made an excuse that I really don't remember what I said, but I told them that he didn't hit me, but they knew, because when they looked inside my ear, it was nothing there, and they took out a warrant on him themselves. But that right there that was it for me. You know, I had to make a conscious decision for my children. And then I said, okay, so what's next, God? I'm going through this stuff. I don't know what else to do. You know, I have 2 daughters. I don't want them beat. I don't want my boys beating on women. And so I tried to separate myself. He ended up going to prison for 10 years for armed robbery. And when he went to prison, my children and I became homeless. And we stayed in a barn behind somebody's house where they keep their stuff, the garden tools and stuff. It was a couch. It was a bed, a kerosene heater, and we ran lights from the friend house to the barn, and we stayed there. And I was happy. I was content because we had shelter.
That's right.
And I was thanking
That's
God, that we had this place that we could lay our heads. And many nights I just sat there and I watched my children sleep. And I prayed over them, and I thanked God for them. And from that, I was looking in the newspaper one day, and I saw where they had houses, mobile homes for sale in Anderson, South Carolina. And I applied. Didn't think I was going to get it because my credit. And I applied, and lo and behold, I did get it. So I was able to purchase an acre of land and a mobile home. And once I got my home, I went back to school at the age of 30. My ex-husband was still in prison. And I received my GED in 2001. And then I enrolled in college. It was hard, Robin. It was so hard because you have 5 children. You have 2 sick kids that need your attention around the clock so that they don't lose their life, to what's going on with them. I had to work a full.
You were surviving.
I was surviving. I worked a full-time job. I was a mom, and then 2008, he comes home from prison. I'm in college. I had already graduated with 1 degree with an associate's. I was doing good for myself, and I was in school for my bachelor's for social work, and I allowed him to come back. I prayed, and I was like, well, God, we married, and I want my marriage to work because I didn't want to have a failed marriage. I didn't want my family looking at me and say, I told you, So I let him come back, and I told him, if you ever put your hand on me again, I'm done. I'm finished. And because I didn't smoke weed with him, I never smoked weed. I can't smoke that stuff. And because I didn't, because I didn't smoke weed with him, he took his feet and kicked me out of his car, and that was it. And I never went back. And I ended up selling my mobile home. Because what happened was, it was considered marital access. Even though I had it 8 years prior to him coming home, I let him back in.
Wow.
And it was considered marital access. So he fought me for my home. And the only thing I could do was sell it. And I sold my home for $5,000, property and land, property and the mobile home for $5,000.
Wow.
But guess what? I walked away with so much peace,
Amen.
so much joy.
Yes.
And that's where I am now. And from all of that, plus some more that I'm not, going to have time to get into, it birthed my purpose. It birthed my purpose.
What is so amazing, I'm trying to hold back the tears because I'm very emotional because both of your stories are so phenomenal. And we're going to get into conversation in a few minutes about this to discuss it even more. But first of all, it's just amazing how far you come, from the way your life was younger and then growing up. But what I want to say right now is that it's amazing. There are women out here that are watching this video today, and they are stuck feeling. They're thinking that they're trapped. They're in this house and they're trapped, and they don't know how to exit. They don't know how to leave because they feel like what you said. You got your kids. You finally have that security, and you got somebody that's treating you nice. So, well,
Right.
he's treating me nice most of the time, but yet he's beating on me some of the time. It can balance out. That's wrong. Get out.
Get out.
Help. We're going to put resources in the comments after the show, and I want you to contact me personally. I know Brandy will accept your contact. Tangi will accept your contact. We'd be glad to get you more resources. Thank you so much. I want you to look into the camera and give some kind of hope to a woman to help her to focus forward, how to reach that purpose from the pain that they've been facing.
Okay, sure. Well, first of all, it starts with knowing who you are and whose you are. Once you come to that realization that you yourself belong to God, nothing else matters. Because one thing that I learned from going through everything that I went through is that God never wastes a hurt. He never wastes a pain. And he said that he will always be there for us. He would be our shield in the midst of things that we're going through. But it lies on us to have the faith to trust him to do that. So I would just encourage you, if you don't have that relationship with God, find that inner circle, that inner peace with him, you know, to allow him to come in and to help you to be able to get away from situations that mean you no good. And understand that it's okay to walk away. Everything is materialistic. You can get things back, but you can't get your life back. You know, so just know and understand your worth and how much you mean not only to you but to your family, and if you have children, your children. But understand that it is okay to walk away. My peace came when I walked away and didn't have to look back.
Exactly. And what is so awesome is that both of you ladies have found somebody who has turned into your king, so to speak, that you're excited to be with. You found the love of your life, and you know, and I'm so thrilled and so happy for you, and so encouraged, because knowing you both personally and knowing your stories and stuff, it's going to benefit others that are watching.
Right.
And I'm thankful that you're even on this show, because those of you that are viewers, you can focus forward. You can make a difference in your life for you and your children. You know what? Focus Forward Robin was actually birthed out of pain myself. Okay, so if I can do it, Brandy can do it, Tangi can do it, you can do it.
Right.
So everybody, I want to just say thank you so much for being here. Do you have any questions that you would like to share with each other? Maybe you might have something for Tangi, or Tangi has something for you. I know one question that I may have, you know, for both of you, is that how do you get to writing books? Because let me tell you something. I've got so many books in my head, I got to get them written down. And I know Brandy, with having her published you company, and then with you writing so many books and stuff, how do you encourage the woman to say, I've got a story to tell. What can I do to get my story out?
Well, I just say it starts within you know, yourself.
Okay.
Like you said, all of us have that story, but getting it out, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Just start journaling, writing it down.
Journaling, yes.
That's where mine started from. I remember back a long time ago, I used to write and print it out and staple it together and sell it.
Girlfriend,
so it's
that's
a
good.
So it's a vision that just started a long time ago that's just now being birthed.
And now you do books and you have magazines.
Yeah. So
Here's the thing. God doesn't give us A through Z. You get enough for the step that
that's
you're on.
right.
And so if you're always constantly making up an excuse, well, I don't know how to do it. Well, I don't have time to do it. Then why would God pour an entire book into you, just your thoughts?
Wow,
So you may only have the
Wow.
first chapter because he's waiting for you to get that out.
Wow.
And
That's
so
really good.
if you have that one chapter, that one chapter title, maybe just a title, pull out your Word document, pull out your phone, pull out your memo pad. And secondly, if I want to lose weight and I don't know how, what do? I get a trainer. I go find a mentor. Stop making up excuses
That's
about
right.
why you can't do something, and
Yes.
start figuring out how you can, or it's really just a dream. It's really just a hobby. See, this isn't a hobby for me. This is my passion and my purpose. So I'll never stop writing books. Some people hear about, oh, you wrote a book. I think I want to go do that. See, that's why you haven't done it yet, because it's not a fire inside of you.
You don't have that why.
Yeah.
You don't have that why. And what I would encourage also is that to get that solitude time to slow down, because sometimes you don't even know what your passion is. And you've got so many people, they really do have stories inside of them that need to be told, whether it's through playwrights, whether it's through books, whether it's through songs. It could be, it don't have to be in a book, but you can tell your story in multiple ways.
Right.
Tell your story through doing shows. You know,
That's
it could
right.
be whatever it may be. And so that's very encouraging. But get along with yourself,
Absolutely.
think things through, do some meditation. Like you said earlier, speak over yourself, you know, it's very important. So anything else you want to add about getting started with writing books?
I just say you have to trust your own instinct. You know, it's good to have somebody to motivate you, but you got to be your own self-motivator, because sometimes people are not going to motivate you because they don't want to see you succeed, or they're afraid that you're going to over-succeed them.
Wow.
So you have to motivate yourself and know that, you know, whatever it is that you want to do, trust and believe that you can do it. It may not come into reality right now,
Right.
but it will come into fruition if you just continue on it, you know. Just don't give up, because I said today, I was telling somebody today, when you get your no's, like, you can tell me, no, I can't come on your show, but that don't mean anything, because I could create my own. So
There
when
you
you get
go.
your no's, don't stop there.
Right.
Create.
That's right.
You know, create your
I love
own.
that. The Bible tells us to have creative and witty ideas. And so I was always being a guest on people's shows. I was helping co-host with Miss Regina on with her show that she did. And so I was like, I think I want to turn the tables. I want to be the one to interview because I'm so impressed and so intrigued by what people's stories are. You know, and it's great telling my story, but I always want to hear about everybody else's story to help promote them. And so that's phenomenal to say that. I do have another question I want to ask both of you, and this is pretty deep question. And you know, with being a survivor of domestic violence and being hurt, you know, mentally, physically, emotionally by men, how do you get? Because you both have found the love of your life. So how do you get to a place? Because there are women here that, you know, they may have left that relationship and they're trying to move and focus forward. But how do you get to a place of trusting again? I will stand corrected on something because, and give props to Mr. Andre Fullwood. He is one of my mentors, and he had to correct me a couple of weeks ago and said, because I told him, I said, I don't trust men. I'm never going to trust a man again. You know, and he said, Robin, be careful when you use that word never. He said, because what you're doing, somebody's waiting on you, and you could be blocking God's blessing because of your words that you've spoken. And he said, you need to go repent. And I was like, okay. So I went repent. So now I was like, okay, Lord, not now. I don't want anything now. But I'm thankful that he was blunt with me on that because it is hard when you go through a singleness and you're alone and, you know, and you're having to make it and stuff and you're having to raise kids on your own and things like that. And you're having to provide for yourself, pay your own bills. I mean, this is the first time ever I've had to pay my own bills. And so, you know, you're having to do all this. How do you get to a place where you say, I'm going to trust a man again?
Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added unto you. And the reason why I say that is because the man may never come.
Wow.
The job may never come. You may never write the book. But if you seek first the kingdom, which is God's righteousness, he's going to heal you. And you're not going to say those mean, nasty things that you feel because you're going to be healed. Because healed people speak healing. That's why we can sit here and speak in our regard because we've been healed. Hurt people speak hurtful things.
That's right.
So when out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if my heart is still pouring out pain in a certain area, then that means that I'm not healed in that area. And it's a great indication that relationships may just not be for me. So I think the trust comes when I start trusting myself and I start trusting my instinct and I start trusting that I'm going to wait for God to show me instead of picking. I'm just going to wait for him to illuminate a specific man. And if he doesn't ever do it, I'm okay with that too.
That's
And
right.
that's the peace that passes all understanding. So if he does come, you know, the man comes and you might be a little shaky in the beginning because that's our nature. But that peace is going to come and it's going to go past what you understand.
So
Wow.
that's awesome.
That's good.
You want to add anything to that?
I just think what she said was great.
She sees it. She sees it. That's what it is.
That's awesome. But
I
you
knew
know,
this, so-
you can't be so like hurt. Like we've been so hurt that sometimes we have up a wall, and it's hard for people or men to get close to us. And I said to myself, I'm not dating no more. You know what? I love being single. And so before Jermaine came into my life, I had been single, celibate, everything for 4 years. You know what I'm saying? No. And even after we met, I pushed him away for 1.5 years.
I read that in here. In
I
the
wanted him to
magazine.
go away. Leave me alone. What do you want from me? Because I
he
thought
pursued you, though. Guys, this is so important. A woman doesn't want you to chase her. She really don't. She wants you to pursue her. And there is a difference between pursuing and chasing.
that's right.
But that's also a great identifier because we're very good-looking women, all kind of men may be coming for you. So you have to be able to identify who's coming at me
That's
and who's
right.
pursuing me.
Exactly.
There's a huge difference.
Yes.
Whole nother show.
Oh, yes. We will do that. Okay. All right.
But you know, I was asleep, and he had told me early on. He was like, "God said you're gonna be my wife." I'm like, "God didn't say that to me." You know, just leave me alone. And this is no lie. I was sitting on the edge of the bed getting ready for work, like maybe a month later, and a whisper came in my ear. I was on the phone with him, and it said, "This is your husband." I just looked. I was like, "Oh my God, did I hear it?" But I didn't say nothing to him because I didn't want to like him.
Right.
And
That's
then
so funny.
I was laying in the bed, and 6 o'clock in the morning, and God woke me up out of my sleep and said, call him. I don't want to call him. So I sat up in the bed and I picked up my phone and I called him. He didn't answer the phone. I was praising God. Hallelujah, he didn't answer the phone. And he called me back. And when he called me back, we talked. And that was the first time I had actually really held a long conversation with him. Because I kept it sweet to the point, short. I let him know I didn't want you.
Because you don't need to be texting all the time. If a guy wants to be with you or talk to you, they gonna pick up that phone. He gonna call you, sister. So, and guys, you need to call the girl. Don't just do this little texting thing. They need to hear your voice, you know.
And I asked him, I said, well, why did you wait on me for so long? A year and a half, you could have anybody you want. Because as y'all can tell, he's a nice looking guy.
He is,
you know?
Mr. Jermaine Banks.
But I said, why did you wait on me for so long? He said, because God said you was going to be my wife. I told you that. Where was I going? If he told me that, then I'm not. Why would I pursue anybody else? And I said, oh, that's right, right. But I wanted to hear, why did you? And so, he is a good guy. But listen, every day is not peachy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're still learning each other, but it's good that we're growing and we are learning each other. Because I'm learning his ways and his attitudes and his characters. He's doing the same.
And
for me.
the thing is too, what pinning all this together is that we've got to have confidence in ourselves. So when that right mate or that man comes along, to be in our life, we've got to be confident and sure of who we are. Like you said, that way you can recognize the pursuers and the chasers.
Right, and then I was choosing out of my pain. So I was choosing
Yes.
relationships based on, well, you won't leave me. You promised not to leave me, and my daddy left me, and the other guy left me, and you promised not to leave me. So I don't care that you're beating me up against my head as long as you don't leave me.
Wow.
But at that pain, because I allow God to heal me, that pain is no longer there. I get to pick a different decision based on a new circumstance. I'm healed. I don't have to pick you because you're not even on my radar.
Wow. All right. This has been an amazing show. It's gone by way too fast.
Right.
Is there any final thoughts that you would like to share to our listening viewers? Anything, first of all, how people can get in touch with you, but a positive comment to somebody that might be listening that just really needs that push to step forward in their purpose and dreams and to overcome their pains.
I tell people that are unemployed, your job while you're unemployed is to find a job.
Okay.
Your purpose while you don't know your purpose is to seek out your purpose.
That's
and while
right.
you're seeking out your purpose, God will begin to order your steps. He says that a righteous man's steps are ordered by the Lord. And so if you say, God, I don't even know where to begin, but I trust you, order my steps, he will.
Yeah.
And you can contact me at authorbrandinghunt.com, and I am on all social media as Brandy Hunt, Brandy with a Y.
Awesome.
And my last thought is, and this is what I always said before Jermaine came into my life, and I say Jermaine came into my life because I definitely didn't come in there yet. And I think that's awesome because the Bible speaks on that, the man who finds a wife. But, I always said prior to meeting him is, I'm going to know my king because God created me from man, from his rib.
Right.
So when he finds me, my rib is going to fit him perfectly. So, just stay the course and stop selling yourself short, because God did create somebody for all of us, but we just have to stay patient and we have to stay in the will of God and allow God to birth that man.
Right.
Even if he's a drug addict right now, God can still birth him to be that man, for you to marry or whatever. But we can't be so judgmental that we lose focus of who he really is, But we have to stay in the will of God as
but
well.
we have to save ourselves.
Exactly.
Before we try to save.
That's right.
That's another thing
That's
too.
right.
Well, what I would love to leave you viewers with a lasting thought, and you ladies too, is that, remember, if you think a thing, you will believe it and you can achieve
That's
it.
right.
And what is so important is, I want to give a challenge out today. This is what I want to do. If you are at home and you have a pen and a piece of paper, sticky note, something, I want you to go in your rooms, in your mirror, on your dresser, in your refrigerator, somewhere, post sticky notes of affirmations over yourself. That is what got me through my hardest times. And so I just want to be encouraging to you, to challenge you, to get some paper and a pen, a sticky note, write out these affirmations, speak life over yourself as Brandy has shared. because we got to have confidence in ourselves before we can have confidence in a man, right? So thank you, ladies, for joining us. Thank you for viewers for joining us. This is Robin Shockley with Focus Forward with Robin. Remember always, impacting one generation to another by the positive seeds we sow today, and that's what we're out here to do. Be blessed.
They say we don't deserve it all. It seems like they always pray for the fall. Even when our backs up on the wall, it seems they wanna be us facing no. We've been through too much to lose our love and let the haters come between us. We ain't gotta fight to prove our love. Plus how they know what's best for us.